Greetings, everyone. This is Grandmaster Amen Rahh coming from Mombasa, Kenya. Uh, as you may know, I'm a Black American born in California, USA, and I now live in Mombasa, Kenya. And I've been here for 21 years. I'm very well known in the martial art area, and as far as primary school education area, I'm uh, I'm getting more known. And today, I want to answer a few requests about who am I? Who is Amen Rahh? What is he all about? Where did he come from? Why did he leave the U.S.? I think everyone should do a video like this, and so when you're asking for people to not only give you their attention but also give you support, people should know something about who they're supporting. So I'm going to do this one off the cuff and talk about my life and where I've gone, some of my few mistakes, and that should only take about 10 minutes. So to get started, I was born to a single mother, and she already had two daughters that she had 10 years ahead of me. So I was somehow like a mistake. You know, my mother was older, and she had asthma, and she wasn't expected to give birth with her health conditions. But I was born only in 6 months, and that took my father by shock because they had broken up before while she was pregnant with me. And when he heard I was born, he counted 9 months back and realized that he didn't have that wasn't I was not his kid. And he went on and spread that around his community. That was in the 1950s, so everything was word of mouth. And my mother, knowing that she didn't have sex with anybody else, claimed he was not telling the truth. And it went into a court battle for many years till I was old enough to understand and be taken to court and asked, "Who is this man? Do you know him?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's my dad." I was hoping that if I pointed him out, the judge would let us all go home together, because I had never seen my mother and father in the same room. But one time, I'm sorry, I just finished working out, so forgive the sweat. But yeah, so I was raised up in a single family household, and then my father got married to my mother's sister's best friend, so that kept them even more farther apart. And I just grew up like that. I mean, I had good Christmases. I grew up in a middle class family in Southwest Los Angeles, and we had a house, and I had my own room. And I had two sisters who really could care less about me, and one sister that really hated me, half sister. So, those were my big struggles when I was coming up as a kid. I was hyper. I was taken to the doctor, and they poured hot and cold water in my ears, made me count to 100, and I'd pass out. They'd wake me up and do it again. They thought something was really wrong with me because I was so hyper. I got put out of school in the first grade. So, I was in private school, and then they got kicked out in, I don't know, it was the first grade or nursery, first grade. And then I went to public school for 4 years, where I met a lot of my great buddies. We used to hang out. But when I got to going to the fifth grade, all of a sudden my mother took me back to the private school, St. Cecilia's. And I started talking to the nuns. Those days, you just told, sit, don't talk, shh, be quiet. And I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe she left some books there or something. And then the next thing you know, my mom was pleading with the sister and told her, And they agreed. And she turned around and faced me and said, "If y'all mess up this time, we're gonna feel it," you know. And I was like, "Whoa!" And I realized I was out of public school with all my friends and back into a private school. So after being in public school for 4 years, I was like one of the toughest guys in private school because private school guys were always weak and they didn't want us. The public school kids would come walking and beat them up. Okay, so uh, yeah, so I went to public Catholic school all the way up to the ninth grade, which was in Catholic school. The ninth grade was high school, and I was at Mark Carmel High School after going through Holy Cross Middle School, and then I went to the bathroom, and I hated the school right from the get go, and I didn't want to go there because I thought I could get a chance to go be with my friends in public school, and my mother was always never having that. So when I went to Mount Carmel, I was like disappointed because the school was, private schools was funny. And I went to the bathroom and I couldn't find the bathroom. And I'm mad. I'm looking around. So finally I just said, "Where's the bathroom?" And then the guy pointed to the bathroom. And I saw the sign that said laboratory. And I was like, "What the hell?" And I found myself in an all boys school, no girls. And I just went home and told my mom, "Beat me, kill me, slap me, do whatever you want. I'm not going back to that school." And so that was after 1 year of Mark Carmel. And, she put me in Los Angeles High School. Now, the good thing about Mark Carmel is that I was there and I was introduced to football, which I failed in. I think I came up telling people, no, I wasn't cut. I quit. But the coach told me that I'm going to go, and I was, it wasn't like a formal get out, and I kept getting headaches when the people hit my helmet. And then they had this thing where we used to take the chin straps and take the little metal clip on the chin and slap somebody on the head, and it would make the ears ring. And it made me almost pass out. So I gave that up. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, and he, after school, and they were getting into a van. I'm like, "Where are you going?" Lionel Benjamin. And he was like, "I'm going to go run at the park." And I was like, "Well, let me go too," because it was the school activity. And I went to the park and we were talking and we were running. And I was running with him, talking to him, and he was completely out of breath. And I'm like, "What? Why are you out of breath?" I didn't know what was going on. I'm just running because they're running. And he's like, he was tired. And I was like, I could keep on going. So the coach saw me, and then they told me to keep on coming. And then we went to a track meet. A cross country meet, and I ran and I passed up everybody. And I didn't even know what to do after I passed everyone up. I was like, where to go? Because it was just a big empty, park field, and everybody knew the way to go but me. And when I passed the main guy, I was like, well, where do I run to? And thus began the career of cross country, which was very short-lived because then I left Mount Carmel and went to Los Angeles High School, where I immediately enrolled myself into the chess club. And I didn't do any sports because I went to the field and the guys were like, ready, and I was not known, so I was like, I know. And I was a freshman. I just kept a low profile. After the 10th grade, going into the 11th, January, I think it was the 2nd, my mom died. She just died suddenly like that. I was talking to her and she told me, I'm going to give me the hair grease. And I can't, she knocked on the wall of my bedroom, asked me to give her the hair grease. And I'm like, why you wake me up? But I was young. I didn't say it, but I was like, damn, wake me up to get you the hair grease. And then the hair grease was sitting right on the table next to her. So I just grabbed it and moved it and then went back to bed. I was already mad at her because she refused me to go out with my buddies that night. And then later in the night, I heard her wheezing as I've heard her all my life. I didn't think anything of it. I went back to sleep, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened by my cousin. And supposedly my mother had passed. I had a heart attack, and then they tried to respirate her in the living room, and I slept all through that. And by that time, I took her to the hospital. And when my cousin woke me up, it was like, you know, go to the hospital. By the time I was there, I saw all my family members, and she had already passed. So when I went back to school in the 11th grade, it was like, you know, I was dazed out, and I was just in space because I didn't know what to do. Why am I even in school? Because no more mom, and my sisters didn't care, so there was that issue. I hope I'm not boring you guys. LA Romans, that's right, man. So to get to the story, I met a guy, a student that was a grade ahead of me, and we became very close friends. And I never had a real close friend outside of my partners on the block, and I never even wanted any. But the guy was funny, and we got along well, and then we just hung out together. And I think I'm skipping. No, yeah, in 11th grade I was just dazed, but come the 12th grade, I walked back onto the field as senior, and told the coach I wanted to run track, and he was like, "Huh?" Because he, obviously they saw me. I was never really nobody that jumped on the field and did anything, and he told me to run around the track, like we did a lot of us. And when it was like 20 of us, and we ran around the track, and I passed them all up, and then the coach told me, "You're in." And the way I ran, he put me on varsity. And when I walked up to those same gruddy guys who had been friends all freshman year, sophomore year, they looked at me like, who's this guy? But when I ran, they was like, "Oh, that guy's good." And there was one guy that was a senior that was my equal. Not only did the coach had to keep us in two different events. He did the mile, and I did the 2 mile run. And not only that, was I faster than him, I also took his girlfriend. And it was, but she had broke up with him. I didn't take her. She really tried to get me, but I kept refusing. And then one day I just said, "What the heck?" She came to my track meet just to see me. So I went up to the stands and told her, "This race is for you," and went down promptly, beat everybody on the field. I went 2 laps around. On the first lap, I purposely was dead last, so that they would think like, "Oh, the guy's terrible." Then, I passed everybody, and then took first place. And she became my girlfriend after that race, Sheila Baraka. So I'm not going to take long. I'm still in high school. Okay, so I got out of high school and I started racing cars. The friend of mine, Keith Holloway, was into cars, and I got into cars. And then later on, he got into martial arts, and then I got into martial arts. And I found that was my new love. Oh, by the way, I was third in Southern League in track and field, and in cross country. I don't know where I was. I forgot. I'm lost. But I was good. But anyway, we got into, after we finished high school, I was, I immediately went to work at Rockwell International after going through an Urban League training course. And then from there, I was the youngest employee at Rockwell International, where I got top secret clearance and worked on, I can talk about it now because it's been too many years. I worked on the B-1 bomber project, and I was a young guy with a green badge that could walk anywhere. In certain areas, you had certain badges that you couldn't go to certain secret areas, but because I was working in computers, in the computer room, I had access to all the sensitive documents at 18 years of age. And I was very good at my job, and they kept me. When President Carter canceled the B-1 bomber project, they laid everybody off. Now remember, I was working near the airport in this giant hangar. I mean, it was like one of the third biggest buildings in the Western Hemisphere, they would say, and hundreds and hundreds of people were employed there. And so when I would walk to work, it would be this big giant hall, and you try to fight your way in, because I was working at night, and so I would be fighting my way in, having to slide against the wall while hundreds and hundreds of employees came in to do the work of the B-1 bomber. So that was like on a Monday, I I left work early in the morning and got in the car, and then I heard on the radio, car canceled the B-1 bomber. I was like, oh. I went and work the next day, just working like normal. Then in the morning when I went to go home, I expected to see hundreds of people, and it was nobody but me. So I ran out. I ran back into the computer room and said, "Is it a holiday or what's happening?" And they're like, "No, everybody was laid off." I'm like, what? And I got my first taste of reality. About job life. All those people I knew, all were just gone. They got to work that afternoon, got a pink slip. And so they kept me because I was working for the corporate part of Rockwell International, and I was eventually transferred to the Valley. Yes, the Valley. Okay, that's why I was looking for that word the other day. And I hope I'm not boring people. But anyway, I work for Rockwell, I'm skipping so many parts. And my passion, and when I was in high school, was to be a police officer. That was my goal. So this thing was, to me, at the time, computers was like a sidetrack. And once I got out of high school, I started working full time, and I enrolled myself in college full time. So I had no parent, and I was working full time and going to school full time. I think I was 19, because people told me I would fail. My sisters, my mom's boyfriend, they all looked at me like, you haven't joined the gangs yet. And me, I knew myself. I said, I'm intelligent. You know what I mean? Me, I'm talented. How? Why? Now I had friends. They was gang members, and they was, idiots. But they looked at me because in high school they thought like I told them, man, I want to be a policeman. So you guys can go get high, you can do smoking, you can do all those things, but not me. And so when I turned 20, immediately I applied for LAPD and was told that I had too many traffic tickets because I used to race cars and I got like 25 traffic tickets. And so they said I had to go a year without traffic tickets. And I did that. 1 year without a traffic ticket. And on the year of the day, I was back and applying, and I was accepted into class of 81. And from there, I was racism out of the academy. Now, being racism I had no clue what racism was. No one to tell me. Everybody was shocked that I was able to get in LAPD. And I'm like, what's the matter? You guys think I can't read? Why is everybody surprised that the LAPD had hired me? But Hidden Hands were there, and these 4 white policemen, they just marked me. I guess I was a young guy. I guess they knew my background, and they decided that no, I wasn't going to make it because they had a point where they had to hire so many blacks because they were not hiring blacks. So they were hiring these blacks, but they were pushing them out of the academy as fast as they could, and I was just caught up in that. And I actually knew Bernard Parks, LAPD captain. He was a captain at the time, somehow a relative. And I called him on the phone, and he was like, "Brother, I can't help you." And I was like, "Damn," you know what I mean? Because I thought he could do something, but he never did anything for me. Anyway, so I got out of police academy, and they told me I had to go 6 months. I could reapply because the way they got me was some stupid thing. And they said, you quit and you can come back in 6 months. If you don't quit, we'll fire you and you can never come back. So I was, okay, I'll quit and come back in 6 months. And when I went to personnel, 6 months to the day, the lady told me that there was nothing, that was a lie. There was nothing like that. She didn't know where that was coming from. You have to reapply completely afresh. And I reapplied completely afresh. Went through all the background, went through all the medical. It seemed like ridiculous because I had already passed all these things. Went through the background check again. And then when I was to get my class, I came down with my birth certificate and my driver's license for them to put me into the academy. 2 detectives came to the room, called me outside, and told me you could not apply again for 4 years or some shit like that. And I was like, why? And they said they couldn't tell me. And it was embarrassing, and it was just terrible the way they did it. They let me go all the way up to the point where I was going into the class before they came and told me, 2 detectives came and told me I can't apply for 6 months, go home. And after I did all that work, and twice. And then when I went to my background investigator, who was black, he told me he couldn't tell me. Then he opened up my file and walked away. So when I looked in the file, I saw that those racist white guys had wrote so many terrible things about me. I don't know how it came. So I knew right then it was like, racist. I wasn't black conscious at the time. So anyway, I hope I'm not boring people. I'm gonna move fast now. So I was racism out of police academy and went back into computers where I thrived. I made more money as a computer operator than I did when I was a policeman. But because I had following the dreams of a 15-year-old, I still wanted to be a policeman. And so eventually I took myself back to the second most prestigious police academy, Rio Hondo Police Academy. And there, with my eyes wide open, I watched every white person that came near me. And I was like only three blacks in our class. And whenever they tried to dupe me, I was just really like not going for it. And so I was a little bit, intimidating. And I was a green belt by that time in martial arts, and so they knew I could fight. They refused me to fight when they were doing the self-defense training, and I was like, damn. So I went in pre-service. I got out pre-service. I tried to apply for a couple of police departments, including Compton, and there was a no-go. So once LAPD was finished with me, nobody would touch me. So it was like a turning point in my life. I had give up my dream of being a policeman and move forward with computers, and that's what I did. So I was working for a company. I was laid off, and then I was like so happy because I had a computer at home, the Radio Shack 8 kilobyte basic computer, and I wanted to try to do business on my own way back then before I became black conscious. But anyway, I tried that and it was working, but I wanted to I needed a car because my wife and I had broken up and I didn't have a car because she took the car. And so I got married, by the way. So when we broke up, she took the car and I needed a car, and I couldn't get a car because you couldn't get a car unless you had a job. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna go get a job, get the car, and quit the job. So I got the job immediately at Thrifty Drug Corporation, and shit, I didn't leave there for 4 years. Racism just followed me all the way through it. For 4 years, it was just nonsense. And so I finally had to give that up. So in my personal life, I was married, and then I got divorced, and then I got another girl, and at that time I was like 27 and I didn't have kids, and so when we got together, I said, all I want to do, I want to have kids, and she wanted to have kids, so it was a way, we started having a family, and right at the time I met her, I met Ashwa Kwesi, and he changed my life from there. I got my black belt at the same time, got black conscious at the same time through Ashwa Kwesi's VHS tapes, and immediately I realized that the information was real, and I would have to not only change my name because I was conscious that I was having a slave name. I would also have to leave and go visit Africa. So I did all that. 1987, January the 1st, I changed from my slave name and took on the name that. And I didn't want the name, I kept looking around like, that's too powerful. That name is too powerful. But there was no other name that could fit me. And Ashwa Kwesi. I was one of the first ones to get his African Origins of Civilization VHS tapes when they came out. And it was my neighbor from around the corner. And I just had to walk around the corner, and then one day he gave it to me all full force. And my eyes became wide open. And when I remember asking him in the morning, because it was from the morning to the evening, he spent the whole day with me, God bless me, and he had to, because I was brought up in Catholic school. I had a lot of problems in my mind, and he just spent the day with me. Because I think in the morning he asked me, he was talking and telling me stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, Jesus was black? How? I think if I told, when he heard me say that, I know he was like, let me just hold his brother's hand and walk him through. And I mean, he was hitting me, man, with the wow information, where you come from. I'm asking the most stupid questions, and he answered them. And I think everybody needs that. You need to just break down and let them ask you those kind of questions. So how old are you? I'm 61. I'm 61 years old. Can I look? Now look at. I'm just got through finishing my training. I'm doing 20 minutes a day. I must sweat every day. That's my new routine. As you know, I'm a grandmaster in Kempo. Let me get there. So okay, I see you guys are bored because you're asking me questions, but ask me any questions. It's okay. So. After Crosby got me Black Conscious, and then I ended up staying with Thrifty Corporation until 1992, where the racism was so bad because when they hired me, all my documents were under the slave name, and I went in with those documents with the slave name. And then when they hired me, I'm like, oh, by the way, this is my real name, so they couldn't really do nothing about that. And then when it was like, what happened to that guy? That's him. He's Amen Rahh. What? Where kind of, they quickly found out I was. And then my boss's boss had a mission that he was just going to get me. And eventually he put me on an unlimited probation. If you come one day late, you're fired. If you call in sick, you're fired. If you touch the computer. Now, I'm a computer operator. He told me if I touch the keyboard, I'm fired. So it was like they was going to delegate me to the cheap jobs in the office, and when everybody was coming to me on how to run the computer lab. So it was like ridiculous. So when I walked off that job, I never went back to work for anybody since that time. Okay, in the United States. Really, I couldn't tell you old enough. I wanted to make this video and talk so much about myself that as far as health wise. Okay, I was in martial arts at the time and from Black Karate Federation in 1992, and I trained when my instructor Mazi Taylor told me about his instructor Steve Muhammad. I was so in awe of the man who I never met. I said, I'm gonna go train with both of them. If you understand the hyperness in me, I'm training with my Mazi Taylor Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Mr. Muhammad on Tuesday and Thursday. Saturday we did nothing but sparring with the black belts, and then on Sunday we have a tournament. And I fought in over 400 tournaments. So in my time during the time I was in my time doing. I fought at 400 tournaments, including when I was black belt and retired. I still went to tournaments with my students. So that kind of activity was tremendous. And as a boy, we played football in the street from the morning to the evening. You throw the ball in the air. I was trying to catch a pass. I can't even see the ball. It's too dark. That's when we would quit, But I think that more than anything really kept me from being too hyper. And also it got me that training in the wind to do cross country, and then from cross country and track would really help me when I got into martial arts because I could fight and never get tired. So I've always been in great physical shape until recently. I kind of let myself go, and that's because I was very successful in what I was doing, and it's like, let me rest. And then life is like that, but it can't keep me down. Anyway, I don't want to come jump. Most black men in America age fast due to stress. Yeah, and because I became black conscious, that led me into reading other books like back in those days, he was calling people nigga the other day. Anthony Robbins and oh God. And now why I'm only thinking of Anthony Robbins. Tom Clancy. Is it Tom Clancy? No, Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins gave me one of the best advice. That white guy gave me the best advice. He said, if you, in order to be successful, you must do the most productive thing possible at every given moment. Those 12 words changed my fucking life, man. I was like, damn, I was on a mission. I couldn't sit still and say, why am I just sitting still? Let me read a book. And let me watch a video on, and it was like that. And that's one of the things that propelled me, especially academically. I amassed a great library of books. I was so proud of them. Large library of all books. I used to be the regular visitor to Esselwan Bookshop. I'm sure I kept their doors open when they wanted to close in those days, because I was buying books on a regular basis, reading like 5, 6 books a week. You know what I mean? That was just, I worked nights in the computer lab, and I could read and at the same time, so it was just heaven. And then I got after I made black belt in 1986. There was no black belts that were teaching. Most of the black belts were in tournaments, and I didn't want to do that. I said the BKF needed people to be teachers, so I quit. I retired from going to tournaments and opened up a school. And in 10 years, the biggest and the best BKF school in its history. And unfortunately, there was a lot of people that hated on me because I was a young guy. I was sixth, seventh generation in BKF, and the first generation just quit and abandoned BKF. I don't know whatever happened. I don't know if somebody shot somebody's mother or what, but the first generation just cut and refused to deal with the second generation. Third, fourth generation came up. They started doing tournaments. They didn't really have the technical skills, and they didn't train with Mr. Muhammad on a regular basis, so they didn't know what kind of BKF Kimpo was. Now, I trained with the master for 10 straight years, and very few people have done that. And I mean, not 10 years like here, there, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months go by. I would every day until he became Wesley Snipes' personal bodyguard. I left him. In fact, I put together the final farewell to him when he left BKF teaching to go be the bodyguard for Wesley Snipes. Sadie was gonna do work in Kenya before he passed away. I met him in SD. Oh, who is this? Because my wife was talking to me about Dr. Sadie, and I keep seeing him, and I keep like, I'm gonna wait. I'm not there yet to deal with what he was doing with. But okay, I'm gonna have to go check up on the Dr. Sadie after Nini was killed. But I don't want to lose that story. That point. Yeah, Kenya is a wonderful place, by the way. Let me hurry up and get there. So there's people trying to understand me. I hope I'm doing it right, because I don't want to bore you. But I think I'm gonna put the truth there, highlight it. It's kind of like bragging, but don't take it like I'm bragging. It's just me. So when I was in tournaments, I was #1 orange belt champion. I was #1 purple belt champion. I was #1 green belt champion. I was #1 brown belt champion. And we were fought for a gold watch. And when it came time for me to fight the final guy, that guy walked out. He didn't even want to fight because he knew what was going to happen. Gold watch? Oh, you was crazy. The guy didn't want to give me the gold watch because I didn't fight. I was like, I'll beat you too if you don't give me that watch. And he gave me the watch. And then Mr. Muhammad had a promotion, promoted all his people to black belt. And so when I told Mazi promoted me to black belt at the same time. But Mr. Muhammad always thought of me like I was his black belt, but I was not. But once I made black belt, I stopped training with Mazi and just directly became Mr. Muhammad's student at that point. And Black Karate Federation went through a lot of horrible problems, and I was right there in the middle of that. And my success with the things that I do is there because I'm going to be successful no matter how. It won't take me long because I won't waste time. And so when I got into that school, I went around to the different instructors in Los Angeles County area. Flores Brothers, also shout out to them. They gave me a lot of information because they were training lots of kids, and I had like 6 kids. And so, I talked to BKF guys. They were like, "Don't fuck the parents, don't fuck the mothers when they come to you, And I was like, "Damn, And that was some good advice, though. But I started, and I grew from 6 kids to over 70 kids in my kids class, and in my school. And that was I'm up to from 1986 to 1992. I just trained adults. I was working, and so I didn't think like I didn't need to train no kids. It was like a hobby. But I went to a seminar, and the lady at the seminar told, I still went to educate. I did a lot of things to educate myself. So they had this small business seminar, and I went, and the lady said, "How many people have a job?" And I was like raising my hand. And then it was like, how many people have a business? And I was like, yeah, me, I'm good. I got two, both, And she was like, if you got a job and you have business, then you're joking in business. And that just like helped me lead that Thrifty Corporation job and go into teaching full time. I think I'm almost rambling. And so that's when I started taking on kids. And kids is big business in martial arts, and as we'll see later on today. Hey, older. So did you fight in the streets before you were in the martial arts? No, I was no fool. Those guys was beating each other up, and I'm like, man, that's stupid. You know what I mean? I don't always go because the guy is a Crip and the blood. Let's go get him. No, they knew me. I was like, not for that. And I was young. I was short. I'm not. I was small compared to my homies. I don't know. All of my guys. I had 4 friends that was in the same family. They was from Louisiana, and they was all 6 foot something. And then there was me at 5'7", at 5'8", I think. Yeah, I grew in somewhere. So no, I wasn't in for that. I was trying to be tough, and I used to really throw my body around when we played football in the streets. But I was not the big kid for fighting. Now, when I got into martial arts and started training, then started going in tournaments, shit changed overnight because, before they used to look at me and pat me on the head, when I walked up with my homies, But then when I got to be like green belt and I went to this party and I was in the party and I looked around and I was like, oh shit, I can kill everybody in this room. Because BKF was like the thing, it was like deadly. And I really could break arms, break legs in a matter of seconds. Like that. Pop, pop, pop. You see? And I had techniques in me that was like, I used to laugh at like how terrible, how vicious they were. And, I never went out, but someone called me to this party. I said, okay, let me go. And I didn't know how to dance. I'm sitting there looking at everybody and I'm like, oh shit, I just realized I could kill everybody in this room. I started looking at every guy, sizing them up, and like, no, you can't do it. No, you see. So when it came to now going back to amongst my homies, I was a changed person. And it only took like 1 or 2, how we play fight. It only took like 1 or 2 sessions to play fight for them to realize I was in a whole nother level than what they was talking about street slapping and shit. And it was like a whole nother. When I kicked that boy in the head, that was the end of that. They was like, oh, nobody would even dare touch me. So when you get in martial arts, that's a whole nother level of street fight. Street fighting is like, for kids. Tournament fighting is like, your life, you fool around, you can be injured badly. And you do that, like I fought maybe 1,000 different people in my life, 400 tournaments, you fight 4 or 5 fights a game. That's like, it's got to be like 1,000 and something. So I know any kind of person, I could get in the ring with someone and they make 3 moves. I'm like, shit, I know you. You can forget it, The guy be there fighting and his girlfriend be cheering on the sideline. Oh, get him. I'm like, I look at her like, what? It's nothing like get him. Wow, take your boyfriend and go to the hospital. You see, so I was that type of person. Come out was very vicious. And then when I made brown belt, my first fight as a brown belt, I went to the brown belt division where you now can punch at the face and head and body and full force. And then I was like fighting this Asian. I didn't know who he was. And then after I beat him, everybody came running. Oh man, you beat Tony Lee. You beat Tony Lee. He was undefeated brown belt champion. And brown belt was a different division. I never even bothered to keep hold of it. So by the time I fought him, I didn't even realize who I was fighting. It might have been different if I would have knew who he was. But he came at me with like, like he was gonna do something. I'm like, first you're an Asian, and then you're gonna try to hit me, attack me? Oh no, that's out. So I hit that boy. And I remember it was a videotape. So they saw him on the video going like, I don't know what happened. Because I was good. Anyway, my RAM thing. So so I had my martial arts school, and we went from 6 students, and we were the smallest BKF school. We went to the largest BKF school, expanded it out into the building that we were started in originally. And I had coached 2 underbelt teams to the Long Beach Long Beach International Championship teams, 1988 and 1992. Shout out to all those guys that made that were on the teams. Uh, it was a great experience, and all of that was like quieted out. We won the championship. Nobody even said anything in BKF about that. And that was a great. I mean, the best team in the whole Long Beach International, the tournament where Bruce Lee was discovered. Shoot. To win that thing, and they tried to stop it. They brought white boys, started mixing in the different schools, started putting their best players into one little team to try to defeat us. And these teams started coming out of nowhere. We fought them all and beat them anyway. And no record, no talk. It's all removed from history. And if I don't talk about it, then shit, hardly anybody will talk about it, because the players deserve better than what they got as far as recognition. But Youngblood, he was with Mr. Muhammad the other day. I don't know if they really know that guy was a Long Beach International underbelt champion, along with some other of my black belts. But anyway, okay, I guess let me read this because I know I ramble, and I'm going to cut this video. You look like you used to fight in the streets. I did fight in the streets. I mean, we had our fights, but that. When it came to like, let's go get them, no, I wasn't the one. There was a night that we all went out talking about we're gonna go to the other hood, and we ran like 5 blocks somewhere. We not ran, but we walked over to this area, and then somebody started shooting. Pow, 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 pow. So everybody just whoosh. Everybody just went like whoosh. So I went whoosh, hopped some fences, and it was gone. So we met back at the, at the homeboy's house where we all met. So I'm standing there. I beat everybody there. Then the next one would come, and the next one would come. So come 11 o'clock at night, this guy named Glenn starts walking down the street, limping like he was shot. And for a second there, I was like, "Oh shit, this guy got shot," And when he came up, he was joking, but I was like, that just took me right there. I was like, this thing is ridiculous. I might be doing that. No way. Plus I had girlfriends too. Nah, you don't get into that fighting stuff. True that I've seen some brothers who natural fighters. Okay, I'm a natural fighter, but it's my mind that is sick when it comes to fighting, because I always have this mentality that I want to just, and I don't want to. I'm like Mike Tyson. I want to just like, my name. I can't say my stage name, but I had a martial art gi. I was called the Minute Man, because the rounds were 2 minutes, but I would beat everybody in the first minute. You know what I mean? And I used to try to keep that title, Minute Man. But then they started getting them because people started lasting longer than 1 minute, just so they could say, you ain't shit, you didn't take me in 1 minute. I beat them, then they go, you didn't beat me in 1 minute, I took you longer. So I was like, those days the points were only 3 points to win. So it was easy to beat people. Then later on they moved to 5 points to win, so it was irrelevant. Anyway, okay, you're saying you took Taekwondo. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. I got a lot of flack for saying Taekwondo is not a martial art. Oh, but that's a different story. So anyway, yeah, so I ran my school for 10 years, and at the height of it, I realized that if I didn't stop now and go to Africa, I would never go, because I was talking about opening up a second location, second school, and then managing 2 schools. And I knew that would have taken me to 3-4 schools if the racism didn't kill me in the process. So yeah, I had skip all kind of things. So I had a woman. We had 3 kids. When I decided to go to Africa, I decided to look for Kenyan friends after I chose Kenya as my country, and I started meeting Kenyans. And then I was introduced to this Kenyan girl named One Boy, and One Boy and I hit it off. And long story short, she moved in with me and my white mother of my kids, and we lived in a polygamous relationship for 5 years. And on my side, it was wonderful. On their side, it was wonderful. I can't even tell you. I watched them. I was watching them, and I was like, they loved that relationship because they was good friends. The mother of my kids had 2 kids, and One Boy was helping out with the kids. So, and it was a wonderful thing for those 5 years. But of course, haters on my wife's, my mother's kids' mom, friends hated the idea of her being in a relationship. I always picked on her, and eventually the relationship was dissolved. And after I had 3 kids with her, so then one boy got pregnant, and then that she had to move her own. I had to rent 2 apartments, and I was back and forth. It was like not the way I wanted it. So yeah. Anyway, so back to the martial art part. So I had the martial arts school, and I knew I had to leave to go to Africa now, otherwise I would never go. So my plan was to go on a 3-month trip to investigate Kenya as a destination, and then come back and then set myself up. So I just suddenly, abruptly decided I was going to go, and turned the school over to one of my seniors, and went to Kenya with one boy, and she was pregnant with our second child. And so we landed, and I didn't get along with the parents, and within a week they told me get out. And so me, my son with one boy, and she was pregnant with my daughter, who just had a baby herself just 2 days ago. Let's get into that story quickly. But anyway, we were left in the streets of Nairobi, nowhere to go. So we finally went to her auntie's house, and we knocked on the door, and the auntie refused to let us in. She had been told by one boy's mom not to let us in. So we stand there with bags from the airport, bags, still our clothes still in suitcases, how we arrived. And the neighbor saw us and took us in. And funny thing how the world works is that after talking with the lady who let us come stay at her place, Mama Zul, I found out that her son was trapped in the airport in Los Angeles when he came to Kenya. Nobody refused to go get him. I had been told, and then I was like, "What? The guy's still there after 3 days?" So I went to the airport and got him out, and took him somewhere where he could start his life. And I think he's still there. So this was the mom. So they found out that I was the one. And then she called the son, and that's the guy, and it was like, now she was like my son. So one boy and I stayed there. We got on our feet. Then we got a brand new house in Comrock in Outer Ring area, and bought a car. And I was trying to live the American life. It didn't last. And then one boy went back to her mom, just left me like that. And I was like in a big house with a car that had problems, and I didn't know anyone. And so that was my first experience in Kenya. And I met one boy's cousin who lived in the area, and we went out, and then he introduced me to some girl, and the girl really kept me occupied so I could get over my troubles. But then came time for one boy to have a baby. I went to the hospital, and saw my daughter being born on my birthday. And that was a nice thing. But we still didn't get along with the parents. And one boy was also having problems, and we, with them, taking care of her. And we tried several times to get a relationship going and get a family going, but it never really succeeded. And so I wrote that because we would be unhappy if we would stay together. And just like life, So the next one, Kenya's full of women, by the way. So I got another lady, and we had a son, Irene, and my son just called me. He just called me, and that relationship also didn't work out because I was struggling financially, and you know, we just didn't get along. She just was not for me, and was not for her. So I was invited to go to Mombasa, and I went to Mombasa, and then I didn't go back, and she didn't call me, and we didn't talk because we already had a lot of problems between us. And I don't want to go deep into the relationship thing because people are gonna start thinking their own things. And we're all friends today. We're my family, my son, and we're all there together. So at the end of the day. So anyway, I went to Mombasa, and while I was there doing a promotion for one of my purple belts, this German guy who had a Shotokan team heard that I was in town and asked me to sent for me. So I went there, and he he had a living room, but they had no furniture, so it was just a big space. And then he called these team guys he had, and because they were telling him that they were great fighters, and he was paying all this money to them to take them to tournaments and win because he was loving martial arts, and they was losing. I don't know what was happening. So anyway, I found myself in his living room, and this guy was there, and he's like, "Can you guys do sparring?" And okay, me, I was like, I don't know you. Who are you? You know, how can you just ask me to do something like that? But the warrior in me was like, please let that guy say yes, you know. And so he said yes. So and it was like, oh, boop, boop, pop, and the guy was down. So uh, when Hino saw that, he told that guy, go home. And then he went to one of these doors in his living room, opened it. It was a bedroom, fully contained bedroom. He said, you can stay here. And that became a relationship. We stayed together for 4 years, living with him. And we opened up a martial arts school. We did tournaments. And it was great. And I also helped him with his business as far as computers were concerned. But as life goes on, you know, he got another woman that she wanted to be just with him, you know. Anyway, that's a weird case. So, you know, I moved out. Even me, I was tired. I wanted to move out to Bamburi because I was living in Nyali with him, which is like the richer upper class side of Mombasa. And then I happened to go on the wrong Nissan one day and was taking down this long road, and it was just like blacks everywhere, you know. And I was like, wow. And so I said I wanted to move there to one small room and then write my book. And that's what I did. So for a year and a half, I was there, wrote my book, and then got caught up with another woman. And then I'm just on the women thing too much. But that was the case. So, how can I tell? I know my folks in Cali, yeah. Uh, so anyway, just so you can get an understanding of me, and I really shouldn't be on the relationship side too much because you really will understand it. But as far as coming into Kenya, once I got into business in Nairobi, I would go through and help businesses, I guess, computerize. Because they were computers and things were just getting involved. People were just getting computers in their big offices. They didn't know what to do with it, and so I would show them how it would work, and then help them do business with them, type work for them, different companies, and during the day, and then in the evening, I would go and teach Kempo in the university and the major colleges in Nairobi. And then it became so successful that I started having students that opened up schools. And then I came up with the idea of the Kenya Kempo Federation. And then I started controlling it as the chairman and then organizing to support these instructors as they taught their schools. So what happens with a lot of times is that people get to a point where they say, okay, I don't need any more teaching. I got enough. I'm going to go and do it on my own. And they don't understand the concept of the martial arts as far as the degrees and moving up the degrees. And the degrees were developed and just for that point that you couldn't reach level one, even in Freemasonry, they got degrees. You got to go to one degree because your understanding can't be up above a certain degree. But some of these guys, they wanted to be like 33 and third Mason in martial arts. And it wasn't even a second degree Mason, with a second degree Mason mind. And I tried to explain to them, but it was very difficult because, here I am, we're there with them. So some few of my guys left, but the majority of them stayed, and we prospered. We moved up. They moved up the ranks, and we were very successful. I opened up 29 clubs in Mombasa, Nakuru, and in Nairobi, and I was controlling all 29 of these clubs. And it was a great job, and kept me very busy. Uh, Dealing with the instructors. Then I also created the African Sport Karate League so that we have tournaments because Shotokan and Taekwondo we couldn't fight in their tournaments, and that became a very lucrative uh, venture. And I monetized them into making money and grew them like as far as they could be grown. And then of course that brought in when you have dealing with money, you start dealing with politics, and politics, of course, came from my students, and things happened, and then I left Nairobi to them, and that's a story in itself. And I went to live in Mombasa and just train in Mombasa, but they called me back, and I came back and with the intent of developing a successor, which I did. And in 2011, I handed over the chairmanship to Dennis Odiamo, and he's the chairman now. It was so nice because everybody would come to me with their problems, and I was solving all these problems every other day, and then they would come to me with problems, and I would go talk to Dennis, take it to Dennis, go to Dennis, and it was so nice because it would just relieve me from all the tension. Sir, so and so stole my students. I came to find out. Go to Dennis, talk to Dennis about that. Oh, sir, my black belt certificate. I'm supposed to be a third. I'm not. Go talk to Dennis. Talk to Dennis about that. And I was made Grand Master on that same day. And as Grand Master of the Kenya Chemical Federation, I oversee uh, you know the problems of instructors or issues dealing with the instructors and dealing with the art in itself, critiquing the techniques, doing the policy making and paperwork, and printing up certificates and ID cards. So I'm still very much involved and unifying so that we don't break up the way the BKF broke up in the U.S. And I'm happy to say I've been so blessed that the guys from the different fractions that have broke apart are now coming together, and we've had some joint trainings, and we want to continue that. We're going to have our 20th year celebration in Kemple at the end of this year. It's going to be a spectacular thing, I think. Uh, but this is my life, and I know I'm bored. I'm probably the only one. Ruby Williams, how are you, dear? Looking at you reminds me. Okay, you guys, if you're going to learn about me, here I am. This is the number. We don't have super chat in Africa, so when you want to support me, this is the way you support me. Western Union. I don't know how. I put this thing in the description box too. But this is how you do it. Here's the phone number. Note it properly. Go to mobile wallet and then M-Pesa. And this is the contact name, the correct spelling. We had some problems with some other company, and people were giving misspelled names, and then they just blocked the number. But today we're okay. Western Union guys have been using it. It's successful. This is how you African super chat me and support the channel. Now I'm a real guy. Okay, and this video, you see I'm rambling basically about myself, but I have a lot of accomplishments, and there's too many to name. The things I've done to revolutionize martial arts in this country and digital education is just too numerous for one video. I'm a real guy. I'm an honest guy. When I became Black Conscious, it's like, I could not be a liar and a man at the same time. So I always live my life like that. And every time was a good opportunity to come where I can lie about something, I refused. And then today, I'm a 61-year-old man. I don't have no closet, no skeletons in my closet. That's the beautiful thing about being honest. When you're in your 40s and your 50s, when you get in your 60s, you see I don't have no enemies. Maybe I got one somewhere. The other day I was thinking like, oh, that guy. I shouldn't say I don't have any. I can't even remember the guy now. But anyway, I don't owe nobody no large sums of money as far as I borrowed money. Didn't take it. Okay, Mushtaq, I know I borrowed money, but you refused for me to pay you back. Uh, that's a religious thing. But I'm gonna give you your money. One day you're gonna wake up under your pillow and that 5,000 shillings. I think it's 5,000 shillings. Yeah. So don't count for the wedding. But anyway, yeah. And so in my life, I see a lot of guys on the shows and they're talking and they're doing all these things. But you see, the point of it is that we have to look at the reality of our situation in America. We are dying off. If nothing else to talk about, people are making a living on talking about why racism is this way. People are making a living on going for reparations and preaching about reparations and talking about what the white man did to us, what the Chinese done did, and what the Africans don't like us. It's not there, and then they're missing the most important point: is that America is not our enemy, and we cannot defeat our enemy by trying to be like our enemy. You see, so we have to be ourselves, and when you break down who we are uniquely African. Now, the enemy, and I can say white man, and then you could say not all white people, but they're the ones, not all of them, but they're the ones who have come up with this idea of confusing us. And when you're confused or deceived, it makes you freeze and you don't do anything. You just like stay where you are. Or I'm gonna wait and see, maybe one side's gonna win over the other. And we've been waiting like that for 300 years. You see? So today, to me, it was like a no-brainer. One of the things about my hyperactivity and going for what I know, even though it took me 10 years to pull myself from the United States, we have to make an action. And the action, only thing is to go back to where we came from. Go back to the collective. Go back to the mother. You see? Now, I did it 21 years ago, and I'm telling you today, that's the answer. You see, I believe it's the answer so much, I wrote a book about it. But I get on these shows and these guys want to talk about ODS and, the Israelites and the Chinese taking over Africa. Nonsense. Nothing should stop you from coming. We made that mistake when it was free. Instead of going onto the boats and going back, finding a way back to the motherland, we started going looking for our relatives in other parts of the country, and then we ended up being stuck there. And the minute we stayed, they put us under Jim Crow. And they've been on our necks ever since. But we as black people, we got a bad habit of ignoring, and that's a sad case, because here is all of this waiting for you. You can come here and, start a new life with nothing else. Dr. Francis Quest Wilson said, if you have to be able to work in a society, give birth and raise the offspring that you gave birth to so they can become adults. This is being stifled in the United States because we're not able to do that. They have destroyed our community. They have destroyed the black male, female, family-headed the black male-headed household. They done somehow confused us to believe that we got gender wars. And no one is addressing these issues. So how can you have peace of mind in the United States? You can just have some things, some material things, and you can show like my things are more than your things. But this capitalized they make us into economic slaves. We get money and we spend money. We're like a very good consumer. But the fact of the matter is, black communities are gone, and in recent reports, black home ownership is at its lowest point in over 30 years. No more blacks not buying homes. What is that? You see, this is what we have to start working on. But anyway, that's my life. Oh, Kevin Tucker, okay, whether we can be doing this offline. It's you that's making my phone bill bing. What skills does one need before going to Kenya to make it I know you guys are bored of my story. Don't have huge sums of money. Yeah, okay, I came in with very little money. And I know you already had a solid skill. Okay, yeah, I had a solid skill because I was already a martial artist, and but I was a businessman. You see, I had owned my own school, so I knew how to run it. I worked in corporate America for 15 years, so I knew how to do the paperwork, the professional part of it, and the things that had to be to keep things clean, blah 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 blah. So many different things that I learned in corporate America that I could access, that I could use when I built my martial art business, that I could use when I came here to Kenya and started a federation of schools. Now I could have started my own Amen Rahh Kempo schools, but I knew that wouldn't work because you can't do that in a poor country because people will undermine you. You see, that's another thing. You think, okay, today now, generation, when I came, it was like that, but today it's not like that because people was rich and it's like people is rich, It's not like that we was rich and everybody was looking at you like that guy, look at him. No, now it's like not like that. When I first came here, I could sit down on the streets of Nairobi and you could just see like all the cars passing. You could almost count like 1 out of 10 had a black driver. And you see Asians, whites, and you see all kind of other funny people but driving, but you would rarely see blacks driving their own cars in 1997 on the streets. But today, streets are packed full of cars. Traffic is a problem, and 90% of the people driving in cars now is all black Africans. So where this thing is at, we're thinking like it's not happening. Definitely, it's happening. So when I came in. I just started small because you gotta start small, and then just don't go over your head. I didn't deal in credit. I didn't deal in bank loans or nothing like that. What I made is what I lived off of. If it afforded me a one room, that's what I lived in. And when I could afford a 2-bedroom, that's what I lived in. And I just tried to get the family part right. And over time I realized that the family part was very important. And then I buckled down, found out my mistakes, did some soul searching, lived in an empty house for 4 months, soul searching, just sitting there, and then talking to myself from morning to night. I miss those days, damn. And reliving my life, having arguments with the people that ruined my life in one way or another, to myself, and then get myself together psychologically. And the moment I did that, like as soon as I did that, I met Eva, and the rest is just history. Now, some of you guys of course, everybody had their own different experiences, but if you come here with a plan, an economic action plan, it's going to work because unless you're just a dummy, you just blow it. Because the numbers of Kenyans is always growing. I'm working at a primary school here, and I see 2,000 students a day. I know all the different personalities of Kenyans. I see them all from when they was kids. So I can see a lot of things that I saw on TV back in the day, where this thing, like when you bring some candy or some toys and you start passing them out, everybody start coming grabbing. You see other kids like they would throw some food out and everybody's grabbing. This is a natural response of hordes of people when they get together. Because I give out like information slips to the students. I pass out one to this one kid, and every other kid come running. I want one too. You see, so all of a sudden it becomes like they overwhelm you, and it's just a natural thing. No matter what it is, it doesn't have to be food, it doesn't have to be money, it don't have to be nothing like that. It could just be anything. It just people in Kenya. And probably most of Africa because it's basically the same. When they see like somebody handed something out, they run for that in groups, and some of the numbers can overwhelm you. But those are the kind of things I learned, and I'm learning, seeing. You see, for being here for so long, and you see different personality types. Economics, the way the Kenyan mind thinks economically is different. The Africans tend to have this bargaining thing that they have to do, no matter even if it's a pencil, and they go into it, and you have to get used to that. But that's our culture that was taken from us. So you have to realize that. You have to understand that it's different than the United States, but the United States ain't our goddamn home. The people are funny. They're not like U.S. people, but the U.S. We ain't U.S. We ain't Americans. We're Africans by nature, and you'll slide right into it when you come here, and you get a better life. So yeah, That's it. On the business side, um, I am not monetarily super successful. Okay, and I still have to work with dealing with money, and I still have the entrepreneurial spirit, and I have been educating myself on economics this last year and dealing with the CC Gate program, which is a digital revision program that I have developed from scratch back in 2012. I just got the idea and I just ran with it and forced it in. And for now, in 2019, we're set to just take off. And I was also blessed to say, okay, I'm gonna get people involved from home. You know what I mean? I can get Kenyan guys to do it, but I said I want some black people next to me so we can give each other a high five when we cross a milestone. You know what I'm saying? I need these guys, you, Brian Cole, you, Kevin Tucker. I need you guys to come out here and push me. You see, because you can know by my life that if you challenge me, I'm gonna wear you out. You see, so if somebody can come here and challenge me economically in the CC Gate program, oh man, we can go far. So I know I could go a lot faster if I had some people that was like challenging me or supporting me, running good ideas, across for me. Basically, I'm just tired of doing this alone because it's not about the money or the prestige. I've been successful so many times. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a big deal to me. I don't even like the limelight. Imagine you go into schools and instructors are like introducing Grandmaster Amen Rahh, the one who bought this camera, and then speak. And I'm like, man, what am I going to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Over and over and over and over again. You know. So I'm here about making the martial art solidify itself into the Kenyan life. You come here in Kenya and see the martial arts in Kenya, and then go to Nigeria, go to South Africa. You don't see that. You don't see the kind of quality of martial arts that we have in Kenya. Okay, South Africa, you might find Hashira Kempo, I don't know, Hashiri type. I forgot the name of that guy, but they got a few guys there. But anywhere else, like DRC, no way. Uganda, no way. Tanzania, no way. Ghana, no way. Martial arts is older than religion, and dare I say it can be very good business if you understand the concepts, which my guys in Kenya now are realizing when it comes to teaching children. But anyway, if you want to support the channel, I think I'm trying to let you know about me and who I am, what I'm about. There was a rumor of I owe child support. I do not owe child support in the United States because nobody can prove that I wasn't there when my kids was born and that I didn't raise my kids. Now, if there's some issue, somebody saw, I was in the United States, let me make a false claim on child support. That might be there. But it ain't shit I can't correct when I come there. If they don't racism me and force me to say you got to pay no matter what, some nonsense like that, or I got to go through a long court battle. But I'm out of the United States. Let them do that kind of shit. The way they bringing our leaders down, I was reading about how they claiming that all these black guys, entertainers and leaders have been brought down. What they did to Bill Cosby is terrible. What they did to even they tried to give Morgan Freeman, Smiley, they made him lose his show just on claims. How can they claim that you did something and then tell you got to walk off a show and then destroy your livelihood? And then when they find out that it's not true, they're like, oops, sorry. Sorry, don't pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? But this is the kind of culture that we have in the United States. Dog eat dog. You relish in trying to make other people fail. Sick. You know what I mean? And that's just, I just can't even think like how. When I was in my school, I know there were people just wishing and praying that my school would fail. When they say it couldn't fit, my school was succeeding, they just lied and said that the Army is never going to make it, he's going to fail. What? Sick. And I try my best to try at some points try to go talk to them, because I ain't afraid of nobody. When these black brothers and BKF used to be talking shit behind my back, I used to go to their school and look at them like, "What's up?" They then they gonna smile in my face. You see what I'm saying? That's nonsense. Wow. I ain't never seen that shit in Kenya. You know, people get jealous, but not like they're gonna come to your school and then attack you in your own school, like what happened to me. They tried to paralyze me, beating me up in my own school on my own floor. That's another story for another day. I've been through it all. See, and you know, this is the sadness in the U.S. So even if you try to make it, you got people that are there fighting against you. So I think like a lot of these leaders, they got some white backing somewhere. They can get by. Like Farrakhan, come on, you know. Sure. Here's a man who said, as a minister, I'm sorry, the honorable minister, and I mean it when I say he's honorable. But if he's not talking about moving out of the country, and he living in Chicago where all that shit is happening, and he been there for 30, 40 years, and it's still like it is, what kind of message could he be talking about that means something to somebody like it's a solution? It's just if there's no solution, when he comes and gives a speech, it's entertainment. It's a lot of little knowledge here and there. And don't get me wrong, because I've been listening to Farrakhan since the 80s, or a lot of his speeches, you know. And, Dr. Claude Anderson and Sharik Latrique and the rest of them, they're all talking about Bank in America, stay in America. You know, Dr. Boyce Lydell, stay in America and invest in real estate and the stock market. God damn, if you make sure you don't want to ever leave the United States, those are the two things you can do to solidify your ass to stay in the United States. And he had the audacity to say buy land in the United States, when black people's home ownership is at its lowest rate ever. 50% of us lost our homes in the economic crisis 2008. You buy a home and you expect the equity to accumulate because your house is in the black community. The house doesn't go up in value, so you've just been suckered. You've been lied to. Like you've been so many. You already know that's now. They're showing you that the banks are just suckering you into debt so that you could never leave. And this is what has happened. So I was lucky to get out, and so many people have told me, because I didn't go for loans and things like that when I was in the U.S. I've never owned a MasterCard or a Visa. I don't think, I've owned a May Company credit card and a Broadway credit card, but I ain't never owned no. And I think this is some of the things that really helped me. So the trap that we are in, I did a video earlier about solidifying all your debt, consolidating all your debt into one thing, and then get yourself out. Because if you're in your 30s and 40s and you got some sort of weird economic spending habits, it's best to just change your whole situation. And the United States is not going to be your friend. And when it comes to helping you find ways to pay to get out of that debt, because they'll quickly lock your car up if you're black and take it away from you if you don't make your payments. And some of you guys experienced that. They don't joke. Unless you maybe now some white people, we don't know, but some white people will go over there and say, look, man, that's my car. Oh, okay. I thought it was purple, so I thought it belonged to a black guy. Here, you can take it back. White privilege. And I go back to, hey man, where's my car? You got the money? I got all the money except $5. Well, then go back and find $5. Yeah. So that's what you get when you think you're an American. So if you like my content, I'm trying to be honest with everyone and show who I am, because I know a lot of people don't know me. But I always say, like, if you go into my Facebook and you go down, you just see the years and years and the things that I've done to say, like, okay, this is what this guy's about. So yeah, I just had my 61st birthday. 96 of my Facebook friends wished me happy birthday, which is up from 86. And I'm only talking about that because I have learned that you should be popular if you're gonna make a lot of money. And I'm just trying to work on that so that I can have my legacy be intact. because I think far ahead of what most average persons think. And this is why not only have we lasted this long, but we have been highly successful with a lot of great achievements. And in the area of digital revision, I just got to talking to one of these guys in the private school sector, saying that you've been quiet, and I had to remind him I'm not quiet, I'm busy, because not only when we got the third grade teacher to agree to do exams, next came the second. When the second grade teacher saw it, she wanted it. When the second grade did it, the first grade teacher, she wanted it. And the PP pre-primary school baby kids, they gonna even come involved. Now, when you go from the lower primary to the major primary, you go up to the primary section of schools, and you're talking politics, because there's a lot of money in tutoring kids, with the government is trying to fight to stop these teachers from tutoring these kids and making it into a business. And it's even in the public school system. But when CCGA comes in, it eliminates that point, because we don't deal with tutoring, we deal with revision, studying, and it's beautiful. It's all set up just right. So some guy was on some social media chat line with me, and I was telling him that we're doing revision. Students are doing revision, and he's saying, "Well, until they catch you," because the government was telling teachers, if we find you tutoring at the schools, we're going to arrest you." So I'm telling him we're doing revision, and he was like, "Oh, we'll find out when we catch you." I'm like, "There's nothing to catch." Revision is not tutoring. There's no teacher involved. It's just a kid and a computer. The kid wants to come on the computer and do studying, and you're gonna tell me you're gonna arrest me because I'm the one who wrote the program? That's silly. It's not that serious, but it's like that's the kind of mentality they was thinking of. So looking forward to the trip to Mombasa. Yeah, Kevin, you were here and we didn't meet, but the next time you come, definitely we're gonna meet, and you should plan to stay, man. Pack all your belongings in the big boxes and put DHL on there. And instead of having to come back and collect your things, you can just send for the boxes, and then you'd be set. And that's what I didn't do, but these are some of the things that I talk about in my book for people that come to Kenya to make the trip easier. And I was listening to the Diner Show, and he was telling me that he found a round trip ticket from the U.S. to Kenya for, not to Kenya, but to Africa for $300. And surely I've seen myself other round trips for $600. And of course, we got direct flights now. Kenya Airways is one of the few African airlines that had direct flights from Kenya to the United States out of New York. So these things are happening. More and more traveling. When the African Free Trade Agreement opens up, it's going to send more flights coming in, and people are going to be moving here to do big business. So I wouldn't be surprised to see people coming here, just out of the whim. Again, like they did in 2006, before the great financial crisis. 2006, everybody had money. So two of my black belts traveled here to Kenya to see me and be part of the Kempo celebration back then. But we're going to have an even bigger one, and expect to see some more brothers coming in. And then I know I'm rambling, so let me go off this show. This is weird. So that's my life. Part one, to go finish it. If somebody has some questions in the comment section they want to ask me, and ask me anything. I always tell them, imagine I have classes with hundreds of kids and thousands of adults in martial arts and in education, and I always tell them, ask me anything. This is part of having an honest mentality. This is part of it. Now, I'm not perfect, and I have done some things. But nothing like serious, nothing I would not be, I'm not proud of, because I lived a clean life. And I just want to be able to say, like, look, the purpose of us even uniting as black people is just so that we can have people we can laugh with, see people we can share life experiences with. And so many blacks are coming to Africa on their own independently that they're not associated with their own people. And you get here with Africans, and then you make mistakes, and then you have no support. You see, like our brother came here and on his own, independent. He comes and say, "I heard about you on thing, but guess what? I'm in Mombasa now. I've been here for like a week." Like he gonna try to, like he's telling me, like I can go, I can show you, I can survive, and I can come here, and I don't need you, you know. So I went to see where the brother was living. I'm like, brother, you paying 3 times more money than you need to pay for the same thing you can get over here. Oh, Amen. Ah, no, this is cool for me. Okay, fine. Now after 2 weeks of living in Kenya, the guy started having to look at his money, and then he called me on the phone talking about, man, you know, what'd you say about that thing about how I can save money, you know? And then finally, the guy was like, I'm gonna find me a job, you know, because he ran out of money. He had to go to the embassy and get a free ticket back home. Where he promptly called me later, emailed me later, and told me he was working at McDonald's. You know, he came here and went buck wild. And that's not necessary. That's irresponsible. You come here, you find the people who got the knowledge, and then you get the knowledge from them. Shoot, and then you pay them for the knowledge in some cases. You know, if you see like it's really value, you know, you use it. Then like, man, here's some money. You save me, you know, 50,000 shillings by doing it your way. It's not my fucking way, man. It's the way I found that works. And a lot of Negroes don't even want to share that information with you. They want to see you fucking suffer in Kenya or in Africa, wherever country you're in, and then laugh at you while you get on the airplane and leave out. And then later on, they get the same thing happen to them. And this is the mentality. Why? You know, the self-hatred got to quit, man. You got to come here and then, okay, the big part of it is the trust. Because we've been taught in the U.S. not to trust each other. You know what I'm saying to you? So it's in us, in my mind, when I'm talking to people, you know, it's like, you know, I get this like, what, look at my mouth. What kind of nonsense are we thinking about each other, you know? And then that nonsense, you know, it becomes so much on us that, you know, this, I don't know if I can trust this guy, or this guy's gonna do me in. Then we go like deeper and we go like, I'm gonna do him in before he does me in. You see, and then it's like now you act on something that's not even real. You see, and you know, I've dealt with hundreds of people. So in Kenya, hundreds and hundreds, and then many brothers coming from the States. And you know, we are not honest enough with each other, you know, because it means that we'd have to open ourselves up to some sort of issue that they could take advantage of us. And but this ain't America. This is Kenya. This is Africa. It ain't the same here. And it's a sad case if you gotta, you know, put bars and electrical fences on over yourself, that you can't be open and have like sit down friends that you can discuss things with. And then, you know, it's harder to be in business with someone than it is to be friends with them. Because the friends, you can know, like, fuck you, man, fuck you too, bye. You see, but in business, it's like, you know, people go making money and people depend on the money, and then you got control with that money, and then it's like, you know, it comes out to be a big problem. You wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, like, damn, I want to buy this new, I want to move to this new apartment, and I need this amount of money from the fund, and I'm just gonna block me, or and then it's gonna be like this. So let me go and accuse him of this, so that I can have a reason to break out and get my money. You know, okay, this is not happening. This hasn't happened. This is not a real story. What I'm saying, I'm just giving an example of what could happen, and with our people, and that's to be a shame, because I want to go to your house and sit down. We can just laugh and joke and be free from the fucking American life. We can walk the streets and just be with all blacks. You know what I mean? We don't have to have no issues of police harassment or police might stop us if we're laughing too loud in the streets of Nairobi. So let me not say like it's like that, but it ain't gonna beat us down because we're black, because everybody's black. So it'd be our own fault if the police came and thumped us up because we acting a fool in the streets. But we need that. And the young brothers that can come here when they're young, the better. I came here when I was 47, and I I wish I would, if I would have had the mindset and came and when I was 37. Wow, it'd be very far now. But all things happen for a reason. And but with that note, this must be one of the longest videos I have ever done. Let's get the channel going. We're supposed to be doing some videos on business, but I have been given some contracts and they keeping me tied down. So I'm not able to do that video with the one with the border yet, but it's coming. And then I did one on the market, the African marketplace. People may have seen it. So to keep those kind of things coming, support a brother with $5, $10. Ruby said she's going to send, and I'm waiting on that one. I'll get the number correct this time. And it's a 907, not 927. And if I didn't give a shout out to Ruby Williams, you're always coming on the channel. Thank you, my girl. We'd love to see a picture of you and see what you look like, and make sure you're black. And then, give you a great shout out. You sent money to the wrong number, Pole, but I want to give you a props and say thank you for the support anyway. And let's keep it coming. So some people that are seeing this video for the first time, we're going to do this. You know what I mean? I've been busy for the last 21 years, 20 so years in Kenya, living the life and doing business here and interact with people. I interacted with Kenyans in the U.S. before I even came to Kenya. So I know Africans well. And all the things that they're talking about in the United States that try to stop us and deceive us to make us freeze and not act is very bad. What we need to do is act. You need to take action by getting on a fucking flight, get your passport, get on a fucking flight, come here, and then see for yourself. I guarantee you that once you're here for like 2-3 days, I guarantee you that once you're here for 2-3 days, your mind will start to relax and you start to see that you've been lied to. And that should make you angry the way it did me. Because when I came here and I realized, damn, these motherfuckers just straight lied about Africa. All these things about the Africans don't like black people. The Africans is hungry. The Africans is starving. All that is just nonsense. Africans, they don't speak English. That's just nonsense. They don't listen. They got a different culture than us. They into whatever. And I'm like, that's all. Not the Chinese is they taking over. The African is so stupid. He's walking around, and then the Chinese is going to take advantage of this. Can you just, the propaganda is just too terrible. You know what I'm saying? Africans is too much corruption in Africa. What the fuck? What the fuck is too much corruption in Africa? What the hell that got? How? You know what I mean? I don't even understand. These people with big billions taking money. The normal trader that comes here, he's bargaining with you. He's gonna bargain with you. You gotta bargain with him. This is the African culture. Then you turn that into something that's supposed to be corruption. There's no bigger corrupt place than the United States. You guys forget Enron. You forget Goldman Sachs. You forget all of these things that has happened in the United States. You just ignore them or you forget them. I don't know, the brainwashing. I don't know how they do it. But you forget that. And then you come over to African, two Africans do some corrupt deals and you go, see, Africa's full of corruption. Africa's index of corruption. Shit, show the American index of corruption and you see. They gonna corrupt whole countries. They're gonna try to change governments, kill leaders that were elected legitimately. No, man, we gotta break off from that straight. So and like I said earlier, we love taking people out. I don't understand that. The people in America, they love making someone else lose all their fortunes and ruin their life. They like that. Bill Cosby, I couldn't even watch something like watching Bill Cosby in court begging for talking about that shit is a lie. But if I don't mind, it's a thing in America where you bring down these black idols. Either you do it. So these ones that don't get on drugs like Whitney Houston, now you turn around and you just go say, oh, you touched the girl's booty back 20 years ago. Sorry, you gotta lose your TV show, you gotta lose your walk, you gotta lose your star on Hollywood Boulevard, you got to lose all your TV shows, gotta be pulled off the air because you touched the booty of this chick back in the day because she said it. Ah, that's not justice. It's terrible. And people like, oh, America's not like that. We had a black president. Black president what? Obama himself told you that while he was in office, senators in Congress refused to take his calls. He called them for some reason to do business or whatever, and they refused. Sir, the president of the United States is on the line to talk to you. Tell him I'm not there. You see? That's what Obama went through. Go check it out. He was in office, but they just ridiculed him. They made anything that Obama said that he wanted, legislation Obama put up, they refused it. That was the law. So don't tell me they like black people. This shit is inherent in them to make us fail. Huh? So you people say, oh, but I know a lot of you there in the United States, you can't talk around white people because too many of you, too many of them. And we are reducing in numbers, so you're seeing a lot more white people around you, so you really can't say like, oh, white people's like this. Because you ain't free. That's why you can't say it. But I ain't there, I'm here, and I'm telling you that that's bullshit. Hanging around, that's nonsense. You need to be outside of the United States. Africa holds a solution to all American, United States blacks. 99% of American black problems with the United States can be solved by leaving the United States. And if you haven't left, then you need to be making a plan to leave. What are you going to do? You see, you don't have no more community, and that is the biggest point. Now, let me say that 3 times. You don't have no black community. What you going to do? You say you're black, where your community? What you going to do? Hmm? You say you're black, you don't have your own educational system. What you going to do? You get what I'm saying? And they're educating you, miseducating you left and right, miseducating your kids, writing us out of history. Do you know that I'm in the BKF, I'm running the biggest, largest BKF school in its history. They decided to write a book, a BKF book, and they was trying to put me, write the book and not talk about me. They go from the old book to the new book. And the same players in the old book is in the new book, but they don't want to put me in the book. I'm in Africa now when they're making the book now. So the publisher of the book, Nigel Benz, calls me in Africa from United called me. I know you. The accomplishment I'm seeing you doing, and he was my friend on Facebook. How can they not talk about you? You know what I'm saying? And if you go look at the pictures of my school, if you look at the walls are painted red, black, and green. You know, the floor is green and the walls is black and the ceiling and upper is red. And I never denied who I was and what I was about. But these fools was like, they gonna write me out the book. So he had a conversation with them and they was like refusing to put me in the book. He called me up and told me, Nigel Ben himself told me, they don't want you in the book, but I'm gonna put you in the book anyway. It's my book. You see? And so he put a picture and wrote up about me in the book, which, you know, should have been a lot more because at the 50 year celebration of BKF, I'm looking at the pictures and I'm seeing my black belts from 109 in these in the pictures. You know, so we have a lot of accomplishments, and then there are people in the picture that ain't even BKF. You know, so I don't understand. You know, except that, okay, I do understand. It's self-hatred, and self-hatred is derived from being in the United States, and the only way to get rid of it is to get out. Don't wallow in it, and then you have a celebration, and you have a couple of dozen people. Hell, I got that at a seminar. At an educational seminar I do in Nairobi, I can get that many people in a room. You know what I'm saying? Kimball's bigger than that. The martial arts is black martial arts is bigger than it should be well represented. Not filled with a lot of politics. People don't show they're supposed to be there. I didn't see not one besides Grandmaster Donnie Williams, I didn't see but one or two first generation people at the celebration of BKF. It's because self-hatred. You know, either that or they charged a lot of money for you to be there, and a lot of people didn't have the money. And that's just all part of being in the United States too. Because if you're in the BKF and you're an instructor, a black belt, you should be able to make money somehow using the art. That's what I preach. That's what I've done. Many of my black belts are working today in making money out of the martial arts. This is their second form of income or their first income. So it wouldn't have been that way if I would have just been selfish and made it only my own thing. I would have never taught them how to operate a martial art school. I wouldn't have never shown them how to do techniques and how to run do the proper paperwork needed to run a martial arts school. These are things that I give them. Some of them still to this day don't realize it, and then but it's okay. It's the maturity of the mind. But damn sure don't have to deal with racism. I'm talking too much, so let me get out. So let me end this video, and till the next time we meet, remember, if you like what you hear, this is the way to go. I know people are going to read this video and say, this guy had a long story about himself. But the bottom line is, I'm Amen Rahh. I'm only 50% finished with my life. And I plan to live to be, okay, maybe not 100, because I might get bored at 90, but at least 90. And we got a long way to go. I'm going to keep my health, and we're going to pull the next generation forward. And the same way I was successful in the martial arts, the same way I'm successful in the digital education, we're also going to be successful in educating brothers and make that smooth transition back to where we came from. And where we came from is Africa. Don't be deceived. Peace.